There was a time when cars like the Mercedes-Benz C-Class were the conveyance of choice for the well-heeled executive about town who needed to create the right impression when turning up for business meetings, but also needed enough space and versatility to deal with family life at the weekend. These days, SUV-shaped alternatives are proving much more popular than your traditional saloon and estate car offerings, but this latest C-Class proves that it doesn't always pay to follow fashion. There is a heck of a lot to like about this compact executive car, not least because it shares a lot of its componentry with the company's flagship, the much more expensive S-Class limousine. In fact, there's a whiff of S-Class about the C's styling, especially in saloon form, but in estate form too, with very similar shapes for the headlights. The car we have here is the entry-level sport model, which looks smart and comes with 17-inch alloy wheels as standard, but as you move up the range, the wheels get bigger and the exterior trims get glitzier. Obviously, any estate car lives and dies on its boot space, and on that score, it is mixed news for the C-Class. On the plus side, the 490 litres of space you get will be big enough for most families, and what's more, the load area is nice and square and the access is massive. You've even got a little bit of underfloor storage. Less positively, it does trail its major rivals, the Audi A4 Avant and BMW 3 Series, a smidge for capacity, but it is only a smidge. We're only talking 10 or 15 litres here, so it is very unlikely to be a deal breaker. Also, the rear seats fold down in a versatile 40-20-40 split, which gives you more load carrying options than with the traditional 60-40 split, and the backrests lie nice and flat when you do so. The back seats of the latest C-Class are roomier than ever before as well, and importantly, it is competitive with its major rivals on that score. As you can see, I've got lots of headroom and legroom, enough to deal with my 6'1" frame with space to spare, although do bear in mind that top spec AMG line Premium Plus models come with a panoramic sunroof that does eat into your headroom by quite a lot. In this base spec car, however, 2 adults will be really comfortable, and even a third will be relatively comfortable because this middle seat isn't as hard or as raised as they often are. Yes, you will have to seat with your legs splayed either side of this central tunnel, but that is also the case in all of the C-Class's rivals. Get yourself up front and one word springs to mind more than any other: screens! There's this 12.3-inch one behind the steering wheel instead of conventional instruments, and it can be configured in a variety of ways. It looks great and it works really well, but the big Hollywood effect is provided by this 11.9-inch portrait-orientated infotainment touchscreen that's straight out of the S-Class. The graphics are pin sharp and super quick, and the screen is also really responsive, so as touchscreens go, it's really slick. It's mostly easy enough to find your way around, although some functions are buried in some strange places within the menu structure. But fear not, because the system also features one of the best voice control systems on the market, so you can usually circumnavigate the menus if you need to. One other slight annoyance is that the aircon is controlled by the screen rather than physical buttons, but at least the icons for the most used commands like the temperature and the fan speed are always positioned down here at the bottom of the screen rather than being tucked away in their own separate menu. The other thing that strikes you in here is the quality, which is absolutely top banana. The materials are dense and glossy, and there's a really nice mix of textures and finishes on display, so it all feels really classy and stylish. The generous amount of standard equipment also contributes to the feeling of luxury, with all cars coming with not only the swanky infotainment system complete with sat-nav, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but also climate control, cruise control, LED adaptive high beam headlights, automatic lights and wipers, a 9-speed automatic gearbox, leather upholstery, heated front seats, a reversing camera and keyless go. And speaking of go, typical, isn't it? For many years, when diesel was all the rage in cars like this, the C-Class was a very decent car let down by a 2.1 litre diesel engine that was old, noisy, rattly and grumbly. Then Mercedes finally gets round to replacing it with a 2-litre unit that's powerful, smooth, refined, economical, and all of a sudden someone declares that diesel engines are evil and everyone stops buying them. And it's a real shame, because it means far few buyers will get to experience the joy of the 220D engine in our test car. It uses 48-volt mild hybrid technology to give it an extra little surge of low-speed boost when pulling away, which takes some of the burden off the diesel engine and improves economy. The initial pickup feels really eager, and when you're picking up speed on the move, there's a broad spread of torque to call upon, and an automatic gearbox that always seems to select the right gear at the first time of asking, and is really quick and really smooth about doing so. It's not ultimately all that fast, despite having a very healthy 200 horsepower, but way more importantly than that, your progress is always easy and relaxed, which complements the engine's vastly improved refinement levels. In fact, easy and relaxed are both words you could use to describe the C-Class's driving experience in general. Rival offerings from Audi and BMW do battle to be the sportiest, most dynamic car in the class. Spoiler alert, that is a battle that BMW wins hands down, by the way. But meanwhile, the Merc is happy to be the more relaxed, comfort-focused car in the class, and it is all the better for it. The compliant suspension does a really good job of smoothing out lumps and bumps at all speeds, keeping you nice and comfortable and contributing further to that overall feeling of sophistication. It doesn't find itself all at sea in the corners either. Granted, it doesn't change direction with the crispness or the alacrity of a 3 Series, but there's always plenty of grip, body roll is well controlled, and while the steering isn't the last word in responsiveness or feedback, it'll still be accurate enough for most drivers. There are plenty of other engine options beside the 220D, including another 2-litre diesel in the 300D with an uprated 265 horsepower. If diesel doesn't float your boat, and let's face it, it probably doesn't in this day and age, the 2 turbocharged petrol options are the 204 horsepower 1.5 in the C200 and the 258 horsepower 2-litre in the C300. And like the C220D, all those engines use the same mild hybrid technology. The C300E, on the other hand, is a plug-in hybrid version that takes a detuned version of the C300's engine and combines it with an electric motor to produce 313 horsepower and an electric-only range of up to 68 miles. People like me, namely motoring journalists, often give the C-Class an unnecessarily hard time because it's not the sharpest, most satisfying car in the class to drive. But the thing is, many regular people, the people that actually buy these cars, probably couldn't care less about that. Rather than wanting every journey to be a thrill ride, they probably just want their journey to be comfortable, quiet, relaxing, and they want to sit in a roomy, high-quality cabin that's packed with luxury equipment, plus the latest safety and infotainment technology. And if that sounds like you, then the C-Class arguably does that job better than any of the competition. Yes, it's not perfect. It has a slightly smaller boot than its major rivals, which is undoubtedly an issue in an estate car, and it's certainly not cheap. However, it is still competitive in those areas, and in a lot of other areas, most notably comfort, quality and technology, it's a lot more than just competitive. So if you're after a luxurious yet not too ridiculously priced family car and you haven't got your heart set on an SUV, then the C-Class could well be the car for you. So, does the comfort and quality of the Mercedes C-Class appeal to you, or would you prefer the sharper handling and more precise steering of the BMW 3 Series? Let us know in the comments, and please do subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel, leaving us a cheeky thumbs up while you're at it. And for a great deal on a used C-Class, or any car for that matter, head over to cargurus.co.uk for a great deal from a top-rated dealer.